What's up YouTube, this is Luis Joel and I'm going to show you guys how I make my barbecue smoked brisket. This recipe takes a little long, but it's totally well worth it. I'm going to show you how to make the most juiciest, most flavorful smoked brisket you will ever eat in your entire life. So yeah, let's get into it. We're smoking a USDA Prime brisket. This is a 19-pound brisket that I got from Costco. First, we're gonna be taking it out of the vacuum sealed bag, and we're gonna take care not to cut ourselves doing so. You want to remove the brisket from all the blood and juices and stuff, just because that stuff is toxic and you don't want to eat that. Use a dry paper towel to, clean off all the residue and blood, and make sure to pat the brisket dry. Also clean off your work surface too. Now we're going to trim the fat cap off. This is a pretty thick fat cap. I personally don't like too much fat in my brisket, so I tend to trim off more fat than usual. Some people recommend about 1/4 inch. I prefer to take off a little more than that. That's just me. I'm sure some people would be a little, triggered by the fact that I'm taking so much off, but hey, it's my brisket, so I get to do it how I like it. Always take your time and make sure you have a sharp knife. These are the seasonings I'm going to be using today. You could use whatever quantities that you prefer. And we're just going to sprinkle on the seasoning evenly and make sure that we pat it onto the surface. I'm not using a binder or a smear or anything like that. I prefer to just let the brisket sit with the seasoning and let it, dry brine. The seasoning is going to sweat through and, get tacked onto the brisket. We're burning with charcoal today. It's a mixture of lump and briquettes, just because I usually mix them up. I don't really have a preference. I don't like to use lighter fluid just because I think that stuff just leaves a bad taste in the food. We're going to be using these tumbleweeds to light the charcoal. These things do a really good job to get the charcoal nice and started. I'm going to wait for that to light up. And when you're handling hot coals, always use some kind of mitten or glove or something to protect your hand, because this thing gets hot. It's what you want the coals to look like, nice and red and hot. Yeah, I don't have the luxury of a saw, so we gotta chop these splits with an axe by hand. Don't try this at home, kids. We're professionals. Alright, we're going to be placing this brisket into the smoker. I'm going to be cooking at a range from 225 to 270. And we're not going to check back on this brisket for another 3 hours. Alright, 3 hours after, we're going to be spraying this brisket with 50-50 water and apple cider vinegar. If you notice, the hog sprayer is spraying pretty thick, or I don't know, it's stream, but I guess that's just because it wasn't tightened up. I'm not going to show you the whole process. After 3 hours, I'm going to be spraying every hour, and it's a long process. This thing's going to be in the smoker for about 8 hours in total, so I'm not going to show you everything, but you get the idea. You just want to make sure you're spraying every hour regularly to build some good bark. And make sure you spray the crusty bits too. It's getting nice and mahogany red, which is what you want. Getting dark in certain areas. It's no burning, it's just getting dark from the smoke. Alright, it's been about 8 hours and this brisket's ready to come off. We're going to be checking the temperature. And this is reading about 150 in the point and 140 in the flat. We're gonna be wrapping the brisket with butcher paper and some beef tallow. The beef tallow is just to provide more moisture and to also, I guess, you know, protect the brisket from drying out. But the extra beef tallow gives it more smoky flavor. We're gonna toss this bad boy into the oven at about 350 degrees for 2.5 hours. And we're gonna check for tenderness. To check for tenderness, we're gonna be using a toothpick or a skewer. When you check the brisket for tenderness, you wanna make sure you check both the point and the flat. The point is pretty tender, but the flat's feeling a little resistant, so it might need a little more time. We're gonna put this bad boy back into the oven for another 30 minutes to an hour to make sure that flat's nice and tender. Alright, it's been an hour and we're gonna start checking it for tenderness again. Alright, yep, it's definitely tender now. It's just sliding in like butter with no resistance. We're gonna let this bad boy rest for at least an hour or two to let it reabsorb all the moisture and the juices, and then we'll be ready to cut into it. Check out that jiggle. I don't know if you could see it on camera, but this thing's jiggling. It's been resting for about 2 hours, and now we're gonna cut into it. You can see that beautiful dark color from the bark. Nothing burnt. It's just nice crusty layer on the outer layer that's super flavorful. And if you did it right, it's gonna come out juicy and well seasoned. There you go, there's the money shot. They call this the brisket waterfall. If you do it right, guys, trust me, you get such delicious cuts of beef. Well, there you guys have it. This is the barbecue smoked brisket recipe. If you guys like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.